Hi, I'm Morgan, and I'm a writing tutor with the Learning Commons. So I'm a writing tutor, like I said, so a lot of what I do is working with people who are in English 121, just because that's a class that pretty much everyone has to take. But I have taken all of the communication classes at Pikes Peak, and I just think there's a lot of really cool, kind of, I guess, unique assignments in those classes, like in public speaking, interpersonal communication, group communication. So I really like working with people on those types of assignments. And so for a lot of those communication classes, the tests are online, and it depends on the instructor, but a lot of times they're going to be open book, open note. And that's good and bad because while you have your notes to work with, it can also mean that it's more questions or more specific questions. So a lot of times what instructors will do is set up the test so that you have to have kind of the big ideas or the big concepts down. And then everything else, you just have to be familiar enough with your textbook and with your notes that you can find what you need pretty quickly. But it can be kind of a lot to cover. So I think one of the most helpful things that you can do to get ready for a test is to make a study guide. And that just means you go through the chapters, you find all the big concepts, and then just write them out. And that does a couple of things. It gives you kind of a structured, organized way to study, if that helps you. And then it also helps you to think about the content instead of just kind of reading it passively. It gets you familiar with the book so that you can find things quickly during the test, if it's an open book test. And if it's something where you can use notes, it gives you a really good starting point to have a good set of kind of thorough and useful notes that you can use. Right, so what's one class you struggled with and how did you get through? So math, for sure. For me, that was college algebra. That wasn't my favorite class. And that's a lot just because I tend to like writing and that sort of thing better than math. But one thing that I did that just made it a lot easier for me was kind of forming a study group with some of the people from my class. Because studying together when we were doing our homework, well, for one, it helped me to stay focused. And we all just understood different things in different ways. So if there was one person who was struggling, maybe someone else could help with that. It is a little harder to do that this year just because for a lot of classes, they're more in an online setting. And that's actually one really cool new feature that we have at the Learning Commons. Okay, so if you go to D2L and then click on Student Resources, PPCC Tutoring, and then whatever subject you're working on. And then you can click here to open a group study room. And then other people in your class can come and join. Or if you want to join an existing study room, that's just right down here. And yeah, that's one of the really kind of cool new things that we have this year. Last question, is water wet? I am going to say yes. Okay, and here's my thinking. It's kind of the same idea as cold air, right? So cold air makes the things around it cold because it's cold itself. Because I think in most cases for something like to give a characteristic to another object, it has to have that characteristic itself. So yeah, I think that same basic idea applies to water. It's not a perfect analogy, but yeah, I think the basic idea holds true. And if you have any questions as you're working through your classes, getting ready for midterms, we're here at the Learning Commons always there to help. All right, bye.